Will and Lily are best friends, but they live in different cities. Will misses her very much and goes to her city by train. On the train, Will puts his gold watch on the table and makes himself comfortable. The train goes into a dark tunnel for a few seconds. When it gets light again, Will can't find his watch. There are 3 people in his compartment. He questions them all. "Who stole my watch?" Meg says, "I was sleeping all the way." Xavier replies, "I went to order a cup of coffee." And Dan says, "I was waiting until it got light again to keep on reading." Who's the thief? Xavier. He hid the watch on his wrist under the sleeve. A watchmaker calls the police and says that he's just been robbed. Inspector Bold takes the case and rushes to the watchmaker's house.
I was finishing my work at about 8 p.m. Suddenly, the power was cut off. I went to the terrace to fix it. Suddenly, 4 men knocked me over and tied my hands. They stole all the money and left. At 10 p.m., I managed to get rid of the ropes. I fixed the lights and called the police.
Inspector Bold doesn't believe this story. Why? If the watchmaker had no electricity, his digital clock would have been 2 hours slow. He faked the robbery to get insurance money. Mr. Green throws a party in his mansion for all his friends and colleagues. He puts on his favorite shirt and diamond cufflinks. The party is a success. It gets dark and all the guests go out to the terrace to watch fireworks. Suddenly, Mr. Green notices that one of his cufflinks is gone. He looks around and quickly spots the thief. Who stole the cufflink? Take a look at this lady. She hid it in her hair. Busted! Molly goes for a walk with her friends. She has just gotten her first salary and she wants to buy some candies. Molly notices a small shop with chocolate and lollipops. They approach the shop. Molly takes her money out of her wallet, but a sudden gust of wind blows the bills away. Molly gathers her money, but one $10 bill is still missing. One of her friends must have taken it. Who took the bill? This guy. He's standing on it. Mike and Ike are brothers. Mike is a millionaire, and Ike is broke. Can you guess who is who? It's not his car, so he's probably Ike. Meanwhile, the cyclist has a luxurious car key. Therefore, he must be Mike. One of these ladies is broke. Can you guess who? It's the lady on the left. Her phone is fake. Karen works in a business center. One day, she was found unconscious in the bathroom. Doctors conclude that she was poisoned. The detective watches the CCTV. He sees 3 people who talked to Karen that day. The detective interviews these people. He asks one question. How well did you know her? Peter says, Laura worked in my department. She used to bring papers for me to sign from time to time. Kelly replies, We got along pretty well. Sometimes we had lunch together, and we plan to go to a concert next week. And Sandra says, I don't know her at all. We only talked once when she asked me what time it was. She lost her phone, and that's not surprising. Karen is so absent-minded. She's always losing things. Who poisoned Karen? Sandra. First, she said that she didn't know Karen at all. Then she called her by name and started talking about her traits. Lauren meets Jack on a dating app. They chat for a while, and today is their first date offline. Lauren arrives at the meeting point and sees Jack, but something's wrong with this guy. Can you guess what? Take a closer look at his profile picture. He has a mole on his cheek. Where did it go? Kevin is walking in the woods. Suddenly, a wicked witch pops out of nowhere and kidnaps him. Kevin wakes up in her cabin. The witch says,
"You're my servant now. Clean up the kitchen while I'm gone. And don't even think of running away. The first door is guarded by hungry dogs. There's a vampire behind the second door. And there's toxic gas behind the third door. You'll never get out of here."
but Kevin still finds a way to escape. Can you guess how? He used the garlic from the kitchen to chase away the vampire and escaped through the second door. There's a huge drama taking place in a prison for dangerous criminals. The prisoners have broken out of their cells and now they're trying to escape from the territory of the prison. The local manager realizes that the only way to solve this issue is to ask a superhero for help. But their fees are very high. That's why the manager can only afford to hire one superhero. Mr. Scanman can see and pass through any obstacle. Magnetus has the ability to control all the metals in the world. And Mr. Fireman controls sparks and evokes fire with the power of his mind. Who can help stop the prison uprising? Magnetus will be able to lock all the cells and put handcuffs on everyone. So he's the best choice for this task. Rick takes 2 pictures of his girlfriend. Can you find 5 differences between them? Ready to see the differences? Here they are. Nina goes to the supermarket. She picks up all the products and goes to the cashier to pay. Oh no! Her expensive leather wallet is gone! Nina interrogates 3 suspects standing nearby. Mike says, "I didn't see your wallet at all. I was too busy choosing chocolate bars." Stan says, "I'm a vegan lady. I don't use leather wallets. And I make all my payments with my phone." And Stella says, "I think it was Mike. He doesn't look like someone who can afford to buy so much gourmet food." Who's lying? Let's take a closer look at Stan's shirt pocket. There's a leather wallet inside it, but he said that he only pays via his phone. Therefore, his story is a lie. Emma is a conductor on a train. She makes her way through the cars and finally arrives at the first class. There are only 3 passengers. Emma asks to see their IDs. The passengers hand over their cards. As Emma scans the cards, she finds out that one of the IDs is fake. Can you guess which one? The first ID is fake. Take a look at this guy's birth date. February 31st doesn't exist. Richard returns home from work and discovers that someone has robbed his apartment. He calls the police and they question 3 neighbors living on his floor. Sheila says, "I was outdoors with my boyfriend all day. We arrived home 1 minute before you came over." Zach says, "I was sleeping with my earplugs after a long night shift and you woke me up. I didn't notice anything suspicious." And Alice says, "I spent the whole day working from home. I only went out once, about 2 hours ago to do my laundry in the basement." Who's lying? Let's take a look at Sheila's kitchen. She said they had returned just 1 minute ago, but there's a pot with boiling water on the stove. It takes more than a minute to boil so much water, so her story is fake. 3 friends are hanging out at a barbecue, but one of them has been replaced by a monster. Can you guess who? this lady. Her eyes are too yellow for a regular human. And now let's find out how sharp your vision is. Can you spot these 3 items in this mess? Ready to see the correct answer? Here they are. What about this location? Can you spot these 3 items? Over here.
Megan here is a popular blogger from New York.
Hello.
Today, she's meeting her bestie, Rosie, in her favorite cafe.
Hello.
They're both on a diet, so they only order herbal tea and a piece of chocolate cheesecake to share. Megan and Rosie have a great time together and post some food pictures. But an hour later, Rosie faints. Doctors reveal that she was poisoned. Let's take a look at Megan's post. Can you figure out where the poison was? Rosie put sugar in her tea, and Megan didn't, so the poison was in the sugar packet. After taking care of Rosie, Megan's finally headed home. The door in her apartment building has a combination lock, and someone has recently changed the 4-digit password. Luckily, Megan finds a hint nearby. Can you help her figure out the new code? Multiply the first and last number. Then multiply the second and the third number. And the code is 2516. Megan goes up to her apartment. There's a stunning sunset going on out the window. She takes 2 pictures for her Instagram. Can you find 5 differences between them? Ready to see the differences? Here they are. Megan decides to eat some snacks and watch the videos of her favorite bloggers. One of these 2 ladies is a millionaire, while the other one is broke.
Oh.
Can you guess who is who? The second lady is broke. Can you see the Eiffel Tower and Big Ben in the background? She can't be in Paris and in London at the same time, can she? So her photo is fake, as well as her fancy lifestyle. Megan gets some cheesy comments from one of her subscribers, Evil Eye. But she doesn't take it seriously. She spends a great night with her friends. Late at night, Megan is walking back home alone. Suddenly, Evil Eye appears right in front of her. He grabs Megan and puts her into the trunk of his car. Megan faints. After a while, she wakes up in a basement and sees her fan drawing some sort of a flower on the floor. He says, 2 letters are missing here. Guess which ones and I'll set you free. If you don't, you'll stay here forever. Can you help Megan out? The missing letters are M and E. Megan returns home and discovers that someone has stolen her laptop. Well, this just isn't her day, is it? She calls the police and they interrogate 3 neighbors. Holly says, I was cleaning my apartment with loud music playing, so I didn't hear anything suspicious. Paul said, I was walking my dog for the last 2 hours. We just returned home. Everything looked as usual. And Alex said, I spent the whole day at home. I only went out once, about an hour ago, to take out my trash. I noticed a strange guy in a hoodie at your door, but he left very quickly. Who's lying? Alex. He said he had taken out the trash, but take a look at his trash can. It's still full. The next day, Megan gets good news from the police. They caught Evil Eye, and he's in jail now.
Oh, yes.
He insists that the officer should give this note to Megan, but she has no clue what this means. What about you? Ready to see the solution? The note literally says, jailbreak at 11 a.m. Yay! Megan's favorite blogger has just posted a What I Ate in a Day video.
Oh, yes.
See if you can spot anything odd here. Wow, she keeps a saw in the fridge. Here's the next video. Can you spot any mistakes? Yep, this rainbow is fake. Today is Megan's 30th birthday. She's been preparing for a party for weeks. She bought a beautiful dress, cooked plenty of food, and decorated the apartment. A lot of friends are invited, including Megan's boyfriend, Jeff. Before the event, he calls Megan saying, "I'm in the office right now, but I promise to be at your place at 8 o'clock." Jeff comes home at 8:05. He brings flowers, a birthday cake, and a diamond necklace. But Megan is really mad. She throws the flowers into his face and bursts into tears. Why? Megan was expecting him to arrive at 8 p.m., but he came at 8 a.m. the next morning. In the evening, Megan decides to go buy some ice cream. She walks towards her favorite corner store on the block. Megan meets the owner of this store, Ted, on the street. Masked man has just robbed the store and took all the cash. Megan explores the space and the broken shelves. Then she says, "I don't think it was just an ordinary robbery. The thief must be your enemy."
Oh, really?
How did she know? Take a closer look at the floor. The salt packages have been torn. Also, the thief opened the bottles so that the oil would leak out on the floor. Why would an ordinary thief waste time opening the bottles? Therefore, they had an intention to cause as much damage as possible. Megan takes Ted out for coffee to cheer him up. The waiter brings them 2 identical servings. Well, almost identical. Can you spot 3 differences between them? Here they are. Megan gets an invitation to a fancy party for bloggers.
Yes!
Only those who can crack this maze will actually find a way in. Can you help Megan reach the party? She should choose the 3rd route. Megan reaches the final destination. There are 3 doors, all covered with graffiti. Can you help her guess where the party is taking place? Let's take a closer look at the lettering on the doors. If we replace each letter with the previous one in the alphabet, we'll get party, toilet, and exit. Therefore, Megan should enter the first door. Security guards at the party got a report. Several criminals are planning to get in. That's why they scan everyone's bags very carefully. They find 3 suspicious people and arrest them. But one of them is innocent. Can you guess who? The second lady carries too many phones in her bag. A couple of smartphones and one old-fashioned button phone. As for the third guy, why would a bald man need shampoo at a party? It seems only the first lady isn't a criminal. Megan enters the party and goes to the bathroom to refresh her makeup. There, she meets 3 pretty ladies. 2 of them are vampires. Can you tell who's not? This lady who's standing next to Megan is a human because she has a reflection. Therefore, the 2 others are vampires. Megan wants to rent a cozy cabin to spend a weekend in the woods. She's looking through a special app and finds 4 available options, but only one of them is safe enough. Can you help Megan make the right decision? The second house looks pretty cozy, but there's a creepy clown hiding behind the tree, and the price is suspiciously low. According to the info box, the third house was built 9 centuries ago, but it looks pretty modern, so it's probably a scam. The fourth house is chic and high-tech, but the window glass is covered with cracks, which is not safe at all. So Megan should choose the first cabin. Finally, it's the weekend. Megan hits the road to go to the cabin. On the way, she makes a stop to visit the local farmer's market. Megan picks some lemons. She wants to pay, but her phone is gone. She interrogates 3 people standing nearby. Kim says, "I didn't touch your phone. I was too busy selling my tomatoes." Magnus says, "I was taking pictures of my shop for social media. See for yourself if you don't believe me." And Bianca says, "I think it was Kim. Her business has not been going well recently." After hearing what they had to say, Megan knows for sure who's the thief. What about you? Check out Magnus's basket with vegetables. He hid Megan's phone among the carrots. Megan orders a beverage at the local coffee shop and looks around. One of the customers is not human. Can you figure out who? The waitress. Her eyes are blinking red. Maybe she didn't get a tip.
A new ice cream parlor opens up in Matt's neighborhood. He goes there to check it out. It's pretty crowded because they offer 1 free ice cream serving to each customer. Matt meets a pretty lady named Kitty in the line. He falls in love with her right away, but unfortunately, she's already married. Can you find her husband among these guys? It's the second man. He's the only one who doesn't hold any ice cream. And Kitty is holding 2 ice cream servings, 1 for herself and 1 for her spouse. The next day, Matt missed his alarm. And now he's late for work. His boss is going to be furious. Matt might even get fired. But wait a minute. It turned out that the big boss is out of the office today. He's having a last-minute business trip, so Matt can relax. But suddenly, the boss calls him on the phone.
Hello.
"Where are you? You got 10 minutes to get to the office." Matt replies, "I am in the subway right now." "Well, I got something I need you to do for me. Call me when you're in the office." Matt is a pretty genius liar. How did he fool his boss? Matt had a subway noise track on his computer. He played it when he was on the phone with the boss. Clever. Matt enters the local bakery on the way to the office.
Hello.
The cook brings 2 trays with fresh tartines. Take your time and try to spot 10 differences between them. Ready to see the answer? Here they are. What about these 2 breakfasts? Can you find 10 differences? Over here. Matt arrives at the office. Oh no. Someone has changed the password on their corporate computer. It consists of 7 digits. Matt texts his coworker and asks about the new code. He receives the following reply. Can you help him figure out the code? The number of fingers implies the right digit in the password. So Matt should enter 1, 0, 5, 2, 3, 1, and 0. Matt is an illustrator. His boss sends some files and asks him to separate the images and add some colors. Unfortunately, all the layers are merged. Can you spot 6 different objects in this picture? Here they are. What about this one? Can you spot 11 objects? Over here. Matt's sister, Ashley, is getting married. He arrives at the event, and she asks him to take a picture of her with some friends. But someone pranks the bride in the middle of the photo shoot and spills paint on her beautiful dress. Can you guess who did it by just looking at this picture? It's the man on the right. He has a rope in his hands, and it's tied to the bucket. Ashley changes and the wedding goes great. After the ceremony, they throw a party in a restaurant. This place is very popular among the newlyweds. Matt faces 3 brides in the lobby and spots the fake one right away.
Hello.
What about you? It's the third lady. She's wearing regular jeans and sneakers under her dress. And also, she's wearing a wig. She must be just trying on a costume. The wedding dinner begins, and the waiters serve the first course. But suddenly, the lights turn off for 15 seconds. When the power is back again, Matt finds out that his golden watch is gone. He questions 4 suspects. Karen says, "I was eating the wedding cake when the light turned off. It was delicious." Nick says, "I was talking on the phone with my grandpa. When it got dark, I just continued our conversation." David says, "I was washing my hands in the bathroom." And Stella says, "I was taking pictures of the food for my Instagram. The local cuisine is so fancy." Who's lying? Karen. She said she was eating the cake. But take a look at the wedding cake. It hasn't been cut yet. The dinner has just started. It so happened that Matt is spending the Christmas holidays with 3 of his ex-girlfriends. They go to a fancy ski resort in Alaska. It was the first day of vacation when Matt was found poisoned in his bedroom. The police interrogate his ex-girlfriends. All the 3 ladies went away that day, and Matt stayed in the hotel for a nap. Megan says, "I was shopping all day long." Lola says, "I went to the beach to sunbathe and swim. When I returned, I found Matt lying unconscious." And Sophie says, "I went to the local coffee shop to write my novel. Nobody wanted to join me." Who's lying? Lola, it's Christmas time, so it should be very cold in Alaska. She couldn't swim and sunbathe outdoors. Finally, Matt gets better and leaves the hospital.
Yeah.
He returns to the ski resort and takes a look at the mountains. What are they doing wrong? This guy is riding a snowboard. He doesn't need ski poles. After the Alaska trip, Matt gets a new job in New Orleans. He finds a great apartment and moves in. 3 neighbors knock on his door to greet the new neighbor. One of these ladies is a real witch. Can you spot who exactly? The first lady brought a cake. It looks pretty innocent. The third lady brought a plant. Looking good too. But the second woman brought a basket with food. And there's a snake crawling around her gifts. Matt wakes up in a weird maze in the middle of the night. The only way to escape is to walk through this labyrinth. But unfortunately, there are 4 dangerous creatures waiting for him on the way. First of all, there's a gorgon who turns everybody she sees into stone. Secondly, a werewolf. It's a full moon, so he's very hungry. The third creature is a tree goblin. He can grab people with his strong branches, and it's impossible to get out. And finally, there's a siren who can use her singing to make you do anything she wants. Luckily, Matt has 4 magic potions which can be helpful. Each potion has a 24-hour effect. If you spill the first potion on anybody, they'll become silent. The second potion will make any creature very weak. The third potion turns anyone into a vegan. And the fourth potion causes blindness. Can you help Matt distribute the potions among the creatures correctly? Matt should use the silence potion to neutralize the siren, use the blinding potion against the Gorgon, turn the werewolf into a vegan, and weaken the tree goblin. The next day, Matt receives a postcard. There's a note hidden in this face. Can you figure out the message? The features of this face form the word liar. Matt purchases a tour to see the sights of the state. He takes a nap on the train. After a while, he wakes up and sees that his tablet is missing. Matt interrogates 4 tourists nearby. Liam says, "Sorry, I was listening to the music and my eyes were closed. I don't know who did it." Willow says, "I think it was Ronald. He's very suspicious. Why would he need so many gadgets on a tourist trip?" Ronald says, "I have a bunch of my own gadgets. I don't need your old, outdated tablet." And Mary says, "I'm sorry, but I was sleeping. Can you spot the thief?" It was Mary. She hid Matt's tablet inside her magazine. Matt goes to the dining car. There he sees 4 tourists speaking an unknown language, so Matt can't understand them. But still, he manages to spot this lady's boyfriend right away. Can you see him too? It's the second guy. They have similar tattoos on their necks. Matt wakes up locked in an abandoned house. He finds 3 doors, but only one of them leads to freedom, and he has only one chance to find it. Hungry tigers are waiting behind the first door. There's a big fire behind the second door, and a werewolf is hiding behind the third door. How can Matt escape? He should just wait until the fire goes out.
It's the finale of the Big Money Buzz Show, and Natalie is faced with a difficult task. There are 3 fish bowls, each of them containing a different amount of gold bars inside. If she manages to put her hand inside one of the bowls and take it out, she can keep the gold bar. The first bowl has scalding hot water inside of it. The second is filled with flesh-burning acid. And the last bowl has a couple of venomous scorpions walking around. Which bowl should she choose? Natalie should just wait until the water cools down and grab the gold bar from the first bowl. Bob was blindfolded and put into a shaky van. When he woke up, he was alone in a dark, empty room. There was nobody there, but there were 3 envelopes on the floor. A post-it on top of the envelope said, "Each envelope contains a red capsule and 2 statements. In one of these envelopes, both statements are false. In another envelope, both statements are true. You have to choose the correct capsule to get out of this alive." He opened the first envelope, saw a capsule and the messages: 1. Don't take this pill. 2. Take the pill from the second envelope. On the second envelope, the note said, 1. Don't take the pill from the first envelope. 2. Take the pill from the third envelope. And the last envelope said, 1. Don't take this pill. 2. Take the pill from the first envelope. Well, which capsule should Bob take? He should trust the pill from the third envelope. Let's see why. The first message of the first envelope is true, while the second is false. Both messages from the second envelope are true. This leaves us with 2 false statements on the third envelope. Timothy and Diana were strolling in a magic forest together when they ran into an evil witch. The witch captured Diana and took her to a haunted castle. Timothy managed to find the hidden castle and watched as the witch turned Diana into a frog. When the witch left the room, he snuck inside to turn Diana back into human form. He found a spell book that could help him and found out the recipe for the magic potion he had to make. He recognized most of the ingredients, but the last 2 were encrypted. Take a look at the witch's ingredient cabinet and try to help Timothy discover the last 2 ingredients he needs to make the magic potion. You got it! That's exactly what he needs. The day started busy in Fabertown. The police station got a call saying an undercover vampire was passing as a teacher at Middle Moon Elementary School. The officer went down there to check and found 3 possible suspects. Take a look at them and see if you can guess who the vampire is. It's the one in the middle. She's wearing sunglasses inside the cafeteria and drinking a very suspicious red drink. Yikes! Eric was coming home from a night out. As he reached the gate of his apartment, he heard the sound of someone bawling. He looked around, but no one was there. That's when he noticed something that scared him, and he shouted, "Ghosts! Ghosts! Someone help me!" Look at the image. Can you identify what Eric saw that scared him so much? The gate lamp isn't attached to the pole. It's floating in the air and somehow still shining bright. Well, this isn't right. Then Eric called his best friend, who also happened to be a renowned ghost hunter. That's convenient. His buddy Ray arrives, and his ghost watch immediately starts beeping. It leads them to the building's pool. At the pool, they see a girl swimming. Eric shouts, "Hey, why are you swimming in the pool so late at night? Here, let me help you get out." But Ray stops him, saying, "Don't do that." Why did Ray do it? Look at the pool. The girl is swimming, but there is no movement in the water. She must be a ghost. On the other side of town, Bobby is also ghost hunting. He called his friend Susan to visit the town's old creepy hotel and bust some ghosts. As they arrive, they find clear signs of ghost activity. It looked like that ghost had a sense of humor, though, and wanted to play hide and seek with them. The ghost led Bobby and Susan into a room with 4 doors. Each door had an inscription on it with clues to where the ghost might be hiding. The sign on door A says, "It's behind B or C." The sign behind door B says, "It's behind A or D." Door C says, "It's in here." And door D claims, "The ghost isn't here." Bobby and Susan looked very confused until a note appeared next to their feet saying, "3 of the inscriptions are false and 1 is true." Can you guess which door led to the ghost? Let's see how this would work. If the ghost was behind door A, then both B and D would be true. But if it was behind door B, then both A and D would be true. If the ghost was behind door C, then A, C, and D are all true. But if the ghost was behind door D, then the statements on all the other doors were false, except for that on door B. This matched the rules, so it was behind door D. To get into the best Halloween party in town, Becky had to solve a difficult riddle. There were 2 hourglasses in front of her. One hourglass measures 7 minutes, and the other measures 4 minutes. She needed to time 9 minutes using both hourglasses. How could you do it? First, she turned both hourglasses at the same time. By the time the 4-minute glass finished, there were still 3 minutes left on the other one. She flipped the 4-minute glass again. By the time the 7-minute glass was empty, there was 1 minute left on the other glass. And by the time the 4-minute glass emptied again, there was 1 minute's worth of sand in the bottom half of the 7-minute timer. She flipped it over again, so there's 1 minute's worth of sand on the top of the glass. And when the 7-minute timer finally emptied again, 9 minutes elapsed in total. Whew, that took some work. Jessica was on a trip to the desert when she got separated from her group. She noticed a sandstorm was coming her way. She had 3 options for what to do. She could try to run away from the sandstorm. she could hide behind a big rock, or she could try hiding in the desert's dry riverbed. Which one is Jessica's best option? Well, the first option is a terrible idea, as she will never run faster than a sandstorm. The riverbed is also not such a good idea, as it's too low, and the sand from the storm can fill the entire hole in no time. Her best option would be to hide behind a big rock. After the storm passed, Jessica used the radio to send an SOS signal to the guide. The guide told her to sit tight. A rescue team would shortly be on its way to help her. In a few hours, 3 rescue teams came to help Jessica. She got suspicious and asked all the teams who had sent them. The first team said that they had heard the news on the radio that a woman was lost in the desert and came quickly to aid her. The second team said that the hotel she was staying in called the police for help. The last team said they received a radio call saying a woman was in distress and quickly came to help. Which rescue team should she trust? The last team. Jessica sent a message to her guide as soon as the storm was over, remember?
I know you want to give your brain a shake. And I also know the perfect way to do it. Get ready for a new portion of Tricky Riddles. A man had a book that was worth $50,000. There were only 2 such books in existence. He threw the book into the furnace, reducing it to a pile of soot. Why did he do this? He destroyed the book because he had both copies. After destroying one of them, there was only one left, so its value immediately went up. Mr. Brown's sons found their dad unconscious on the floor of his office. They immediately called their father's friend, Detective Smith. The detective knew that Mr. Brown was uber wealthy. His sons were going to inherit loads of money, but one of them must have needed money urgently. Smith questioned each of the brothers separately. David, the oldest, said, "I came in to feed the fish, and Dad was still fine." Marcus said that he had come in to discuss his business plans, and his father had given him some great advice. And Lucas, the youngest brother, said, "I entered Dad's office because I needed a favor. I wanted to take his car to impress the girl I like." Detective Smith immediately realized who was lying. And you? It's David. He said he had come to feed the fish. And indeed, there's an aquarium in the office. But there are no fish in it. Sarah and Liam had a son called Oliver. On Saturday, the couple went out for dinner and left Oliver at home. When they returned, the boy was nowhere to be found.
Oh no!
The anxious parents called the police. A detective arrived and questioned everyone in the house. The babysitter said she'd been packing Oliver's school bag for the next day. The maid said she'd spent the whole evening cleaning the kitchen, and the cook said he'd been preparing food for the next day. He was listening to music and didn't hear anything. The police immediately knew who was lying. And what about you? It was the babysitter. Children don't go to school on Sundays, so Oliver didn't need his school bag to be packed. Detective Adams arrived at the Museum of Modern Music because someone had stolen legendary shoes that belonged to Elvis Presley. A museum guard told the detective that they had reviewed the footage from security cameras and found out that all visitors had come in and left empty-handed, and the shoes were too bulky to put them in a pocket or under a t-shirt. Detective Adams examined the footage and said he knew who had stolen the shoes. Have you figured it out? It's the red-headed guy. When he entered the exhibition, he was shorter than other visitors. But when he was leaving, he was as tall as the others. He must be wearing Elvis's high-heeled shoes. Let's check how attentive you are. Look at this picture and try to figure out what's wrong here. The teacher is very suspicious. She doesn't get reflected in the mirror. Now, how about these people? What are they doing wrong? See that coffee machine in the background? The cup is placed incorrectly and the coffee is spilling. A witch owned a field that had many gold mines. She hired one person at a time to mine that gold for her. She promised 10% of what that person mined in a day, and they would have to give her the rest. But the witch was blind, so she had 3 magic bags that could talk. They reported how much gold they held each day, and this was how she found out if the workers were cheating. Upon getting the job, each person agreed that if they weren't honest, they would be turned into stone. Around the witch's mines, there were many stone statues. A man named Logan once accepted the job. The witch promised him, "If I wrongly accuse you of cheating, I'll be turned into stone." One night, Logan overheard the bags talking to the witch. The next evening, he submitted some gold and kept 1.6 pounds for himself. Later, the witch talked to her bags. The first bag said it held 16 pounds that day. The second one said it held 5 pounds. The third one said it held 2 pounds. The witch confronted Logan. "You think you could fool me? Now you shall turn into stone," she screamed. 1 second later, the witch turned into a stone statue herself. How did Logan deceive her? Logan put 2 pounds of gold in bag number 1, 3 pounds in bag number 2, and 11 pounds in bag number 3. He then put bag number 2 into bag number 3, and bag number 1 into bag number 2. Each of the bags only felt the weight of the gold above it. Thus, they inadvertently gave the message that 23 pounds of gold had been mined. 2 cars are driving through the city. They both started their journey at the same time. The green car is moving at a speed of 30 miles per hour. The yellow car is faster. Its speed is 50 miles per hour. And still, at one point, the green car comes across the yellow car. How is it possible? The cars are traveling in opposite directions. Larry called the police because he had some concerns about his friend Brandon. He said, "Brandon has recently returned from Brazil and has been behaving strangely since then. I've just received a weird phone call from him. I think it would be better if you came with me." When police officers picked him up, Larry gave them the address. He explained he hadn't been there yet. Brandon rented the place soon after he came back from his trip. When they arrived at the house, they saw a mess inside. There was some paint spilled on the floor, and one police officer accidentally stepped into it. Larry noticed it. "How unlucky! Let me take you to the bathroom." After that, he immediately got arrested. Why?
Uh-oh.
Larry said he'd never visited Brandon's new home before. Then how did he know where the bathroom was? John's mom got angry with the guy and locked him in his room. But she wasn't cruel. She left her son a chance to get out of there. To do it, he needed to find the answer to this riddle. Turn me on my side and I am everything. Cut me in half and I am nothing. What am I? Can you help the guy to escape? The answer is the number 8. On its side, it's infinity, but cut it in half, and you'll get 2 zeros. It's a 5-digit whole number. It reads the same, forward, backward, and upside down. Its second digit is half of the third one. The 5th digit is the product of the first and the second ones. And the sum of all the digits is 10. What number is it? It's 10801. Eric got lost in a museum. While he was trying to find a way out, it got really late. All the doors were already closed. Finally, the guy saw 3 staircases. The first one was all covered in bizarre nettles with razor-sharp leaves and long spikes. The second had giant, stinking flowers with a stench almost impossible to bear. And the third staircase was an impassable jungle of cacti. Which staircase should Eric choose? He should opt for the second staircase. Even though the flowers are gross, they're relatively harmless. When you add 5 to 6, you will get 11. But when you add 6 to 7, you will get 1. How is that possible? It's possible when you're looking at a clock. A coin is put into an empty bottle. Then this bottle is plugged with a cork. How can you remove the coin without breaking the bottle or pulling the cork out? All you need to do is push the cork into the bottle and shake the coin out.
Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there lived Henry, a young farmer. That year, his crops were all wilting, and he didn't know what to do. So he went to the village's wise lady to ask for advice. She said she'll help him only if he can answer her riddle correctly. What goes through towns and over hills but never moves? Can you help Henry out? The answer is a road. And that is where you must head to, said the wise lady. You'll need to find the nature fairy. Only she can give you the magic seed that will help heal your farmland. But where can I find her? Henry asked. She said, the answer you seek is in this riddle. I am a monument of the ages, ever-changing but always the same, dangerous to conquer yet luring explorers. What am I? The answer is a mountain. Henry went back to pack for the journey ahead. Take a look around his house. Which item should he take with him? Food and water are a must. The journey might take longer than expected. Can't forget about the matches, both to stay warm and to cook. He should pack this rope too, since he's going on a mountain road and all. This compass is also a must-pack. It'll help him find his way and stay on track. Next, Henry visited the stables to get a horse for his journey. The horsekeeper showed him 3 different horses. Which one should he choose? Let's take a look at the white horse first. He looks a bit tired and old, doesn't he? So he might not find the energy to complete the journey ahead. As for the brown horse, did you notice that there is something wrong with his front left leg? He needs to pay a visit to the horse doctor. So the black horse will be the best companion for Henry. Henry and his black horse started their dangerous journey to find the nature fairy. They needed to head north toward the mountain. After the village road ended, they came across a junction. The brick road would lead them to a haunted ghost town. The dirt road would lead them to a sea with freezing cold waters. And the stone road would lead them to a swamp that swallows all who go there. Which one should he choose? He should choose the second road, because it's not like he needs to enter the freezing cold waters and swim. He and his horse can just walk on the beach toward their destination. After a few days of traveling, Henry and his horse arrived at a strange kingdom. Little did they know that the king was not so fond of trespassers. He invited Henry to his castle. He said, "No stranger can enter my kingdom without my permission, nor can they leave. But I like you, so I'll give you a chance to impress me. Ask me a riddle, and if I like what I hear, I might consider letting you go." After thinking for a couple of minutes, Henry came up with this riddle. I am a fiery sphere that reigns supreme, the center of all, an eternal dream. I give light and warmth to all below, but can also bring destruction with my glow. This celestial power above, what am I? Can you guess the answer to Henry's riddle? It's the sun. Impressive, said the king, but I've changed my mind. I have one more challenge for you. Then the king ordered his servants to bring 3 different bowls. The first bowl had 2 venomous scorpions and 3 gold bars in it. The second bowl had 2 gold bars in it, and it was filled with a toxic potion that would burn Henry's flesh. And the third bowl had 1 gold bar in it, and it was filled with boiling hot water. Also, Henry was allowed to take the gold bars if he could. Which bowl should he put his hand in? He should pick the third bowl, because even though the other bowls have more gold bars in them, it's not worth the risk. He should just wait for the boiling water to cool off and grab the gold bar. After the king let Henry and his horse go, they continued their journey toward the mountain. To reach there, they had to cross the desert. However, at nighttime, an unexpected sandstorm hit, and they had to find a way to stay safe. They could run away from the sandstorm, they could hide behind these giant rocks, or they could hide inside the dried riverbed. What should they do? There's no escaping the wind speed of any sandstorm by simply running away. Henry and his horse are not that fast. As for the riverbed, it's too low. It can quickly get filled with sand. So the best thing to do would be to hide behind the giant rocks. Henry and his horse were close to their destination. There was only a forest to cross between them and the mountain. But take a look around the forest. Do you notice something weird? The trees far ahead are moving and changing places. So yeah, this was not a normal forest. Magical trees made it very hard to find a way out of there, and Henry's compass was no help. So they got lost. After walking for hours without any direction, they finally saw a small cottage. They knocked on the door to ask for help. An evil troll opened it. He immediately turned Henry into a toad, tied his horse, and left the house. To find a way to return to his human form, Henry hopped to the troll's spell book and found the potion recipe for reversing the spell. However, the last ingredient was encrypted. Can you tell what that is? The answer is 10 pieces of fingernails. Henry was human again, and he freed his horse, but they still had to find a way to escape the forest. Can you see anything inside the troll's cottage that might help them? Take a look at the poster on the wall that has photos and names of magical gemstones. According to it, this pink gemstone is for magical transportation. And to their luck, the troll has one sitting on his bookshelf, so they should use it to get out of the forest. Henry and his horse were finally out of the forest. The nature fairy was living inside one of the caves at the top of the mountain, and the only way there was through one of these 3 mazes. Too bad the transportation gemstone was for single use only. Now take a look at all 3 of the mazes. The fairy's cave is at the end of the maze with the longest way. Can you tell which one that is? It's the first one. When they entered the cave, the nature fairy greeted them. Henry explained everything to her, and she agreed to help if only he answered her riddle correctly. I'm the part of the bird that's not in the sky. I can swim in the ocean and yet remain dry. What am I? The answer is a bird's shadow. After Henry answered the fairy's riddle, she gave him 3 different pouches. Each of them contained 1 seed and a note with 2 statements. The fairy said, "In one of the pouches, both statements are false, and in the other 2, both statements are true. You'll have to figure out which one pouch contains the real magic seed on your own." The statements on the first note were 1. Don't plant this seed. 2. Plant the seed from the second pouch. The statements on the second note were 1. Don't plant the seed from the first pouch. 2. Plant the seed from the third pouch. And the statements on the third note were 1. Don't plant this seed. 2. Plant the seed from the first pouch. Which seed should Henry plant? he should plant the seed inside the third pouch. And that's all I got. So hey, remember to stay on the bright side.
I feel your brain needs some nice tricky workout. I've got just the thing. Are you ready?
Yeah.
It was raining heavily in the evening. Lauren told her young daughters to go to bed. Sometime later, she went to check on them. As soon as she opened the door to their room, she realized that one of them had sneaked out and returned without her permission. Look at the room and try to figure out which girl it was. It was the girl on the left. Look, both pairs of sneakers are in their place, but the ones on the left are covered with dirt. Alexa has been running at the stadium every day for several months, preparing for upcoming athletic competitions. And they start today. Alexa is warming up when she notices a skinny guy among other runners. His legs look thin and seem to be weak. Alexa feels skeptical about his running abilities. Anyway, they get into the starting position. 3, 2, 1, go! Alexa is running as fast as she can. Suddenly, she notices that the guy she paid attention to earlier is running much faster than her, and he doesn't even look tired. Eventually, he wins. But how did he do it? He's not a real athlete. In fact, he isn't even a human. He doesn't sweat, he doesn't blink, and he has 2 left hands. Yikes. A guy bought a fishing pole that was 6 feet 3 inches long. When he wanted to get on the bus with this fishing pole, the driver stopped him. The man told the guy that he couldn't take anything longer than 6 feet onto the bus. The guy went back into town and bought one more thing, and the driver allowed him on the bus. What did the guy buy, and what did he do with it? The guy bought a 6-foot long box. He put the fishing pole in it diagonally, and the entire package turned out to be only 6 feet long. Julia was angry with her boyfriend. She sent a message to her best friend who lived abroad. In this message, the girl complained about the mistakes the guy had made. But her friend sent her a very strange reply. Give, get, give, get, give, get, give, get. What did Julia's friend mean? She wanted to say that Julia should forgive and forget. Gemma was a mermaid living in the Pacific Ocean. One day she was swimming near the surface when she spotted 2 handsome guys. Both of them seemed to be in trouble. Look at them attentively and try to figure out who Gemma should save first. This wooden boat is indeed filled with water. But it's still okay, and the guy inside can scoop this water out. But this guy's inflatable boat is damaged. He will soon find himself in the water, and this shark will be all too happy to snack on him. He needs Gemma's help urgently. One hotel guest discovered her diamond necklace and earrings were missing after a party in the lobby. Someone must have stolen her jewelry. The hotel management invited a detective. After questioning all guests and staff members, the detective had 3 suspects. Walter, another hotel guest, Alice, a maid, and Alan, a porter. The detective decided to check their rooms. What he saw was enough for him to understand who the thief was. Can you figure it out too? It's Alice. There's an already packed suitcase in her room. She's about to run away with the stolen jewelry. Galaxy Detective Varamcha was on a case. A spaceship was lost. Her partner, Galaxy Junior Detective Brightbulb, gave her a piece of paper. It was the location of the spaceship. This is what the slip had scribbled on it. Juice, umbrella, potato, ice, tomato, elephant, rice. Where do you think the spaceship is? Right, it's on Jupiter. You just need to pay attention to the first letters of these words. Look at these girls. It seems to be a tough competition. But guess what? One of these girls is cheating. Can you figure out who it is? It's the girl on the left. Strangely, she doesn't look tired. Ah, do you see that USB port in her neck? She's a robot. Someone stole the money Adam kept in his safe. After watching the security footage, the police figured out that it had happened at midnight. They questioned 3 suspects. Julia said she'd gone to bed at 10 p.m. and fallen asleep right away. Parker told the detective he'd been watching TV from 11:45 p.m. to 1 a.m. And Aiden said he'd been with his friends, playing computer games all night. The police arrested the thief. Who was it? It was Parker. He was suspiciously specific about the time. Elijah went on a cruise. On the 3rd day, he noticed that one of the staff members was an imposter. Look at them attentively and try to guess who it is. This waitress is actually hiding a police badge under her floral garland. She must be undercover. Samantha needed to check something online, but her phone's battery was flat. She grabbed her brother's device, but it was password protected. Suddenly, a hint appeared on the screen. While I am in the air, I am not in oxygen. I am also in water, but not in hydrogen. I am necessary for all animals, but you won't find me in a zoo. Look in all brains, and you'll find me there too. Can you figure out the password? It's the letter A. Dora went to study for her exam in a coffee shop. She ordered some tea with milk, opened her laptop, and started working. At one point, she went to the bathroom. When she returned, her laptop wouldn't switch on and her cup was empty. Someone had spilled the tea on her computer, causing it to crash. Dora called the manager and told him what had happened. They came up with 3 suspects. The barista said he had been extremely busy and hadn't seen anything. The supervisor said he was sorry the milk tea had spilled on the computer. He also promised to check if the insurance would cover the cost. The second barista was also sorry about her milk tea damaging the computer. He offered Dora to make her another cup while they were waiting for the police to arrive. The manager immediately understood who had ruined Dora's laptop. Have you figured it out? It was the supervisor. He couldn't have known the tea had milk in it. As for the second barista, he knew about the milk because he was the one to prepare Dora's order. Caroline went for a walk in the park, deep in her thoughts. The girl wasn't really looking where she was going. That's why she didn't notice a deep pit in the ground and fell into it. When she came round, she found herself in a strange room. There were no windows, no door. The girl saw a table with 3 apples on it. And was it a note? To get out of this trap, you've got to eat an apple, but only one of them isn't poisoned. Pick carefully. Caroline was terrified. But after examining the apples, she bravely bit into one of them. And nothing bad happened. Which apple did she choose? The girl chose the apple with a worm peeking out of it. If it could eat the fruit, a human probably could too. Detective Adam Bonders worked undercover at a luxurious resort. The police suspected that the hotel owners were involved in some shady deals. Adam's main task was to sneak into the manager's office and check the documents. But the door was locked, and there was a combination lock. Adam had to figure out the password. The detective knew he needed to solve a math riddle, and the answer would be the code. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 1 plus 1 times 0 plus 1 equals. As soon as he punched in the code, the door opened. What was the correct number? It's 30. There are no mathematical symbols at the end of the first and second lines. It means the whole thing looks like this. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 11 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 11 plus 1 times 0 plus 1 equals 30. Detective Smith was called to investigate a burglary at the city's museum. A priceless diamond disappeared and the thief left no trace behind. After analyzing the museum's security cameras, Detective Smith gathered 3 suspects: the security guard, the museum's curator, and a visitor. The security guard said he only left his post during lunchtime, and he could swear that the diamond still wasn't missing at that time. The museum curator spent the day guiding a tour of the museum for a foreign group. They came to see the diamond at the beginning of the tour, and it was still shining bright in its place. The visitors said he only popped in for a quick visit and didn't even pass through the Metzi aisle where the diamond was kept. After these 3 interviews, Detective Smith found the thief. Can you tell who it was? It was the visitor. First of all, he knew the exact location of the diamond inside the museum. Plus, take a look at that string he is fiddling with in his left hand. Detective Smith pulled it from under his sleeve and voila! The diamond was attached to it. I guess he didn't have time to go home and get rid of the diamond, huh? Julie and her friends decided to spend the weekend at a cabin in the woods. They arrived on Friday evening and spent the night playing board games and telling spooky stories. When they woke up on Saturday morning, they found that someone had stolen all their food supply. The door's glass was shattered, but other than that, there were no signs of who could have done it. So, the group decided to search the surrounding woods to see if they could find the culprit. Take a good look at the scene the group stumbled upon, and see if you can find out who took their food. What's that at the upper left corner? Those look like bear footprints, huh? And not just one, but rather an entire family of bears. Oh, and they even left an Oreo wrapper on the ground as evidence. Yep, these grizzlies were the culprits for sure. On a snowy winter afternoon, Dr. Brown was resting in front of the fireplace. Suddenly, somebody threw a snowball at his window. The hit was so strong that the glass shattered. Dr. Brown stood up just in time to see 3 neighborhood boys running away. They were brothers with the names John Smith, Mark Smith, and Dave Smith. The next day, a paper note was left on Dr. Brown's door. There, it was written, "Smith, he threw the snowball." Dr. Brown immediately knew which brother had done it. Can you figure it out too? It was Mark. You see, the note said, "Question Mark Smith. He threw the snowball." But the boys were clever and put a bar instead to test Dr. Brown's detective abilities. A man carrying 2 bags of sand crosses Genovia's border every day on a bicycle. Every time, customs officers stop and search him to see if he's trying to smuggle anything illegal. But the officers can't find any proof that the man is a smuggler. The man laughs and crosses the border successfully, smuggling an item per trip. Can you figure out what he's smuggling? That's easy. He's a bicycle smuggler. He distracts the guards with 2 bags of sand. But every day he is crossing the Genovian border with a new bicycle. Smart guy, huh? Mrs. Pinkface is the world's fastest robber. She works alongside the criminal mastermind Zebra Mask. But Mrs. Pinkface was recently caught and put in jail. She and her partner in crime had already set up a plan in case this happened. Zebra Mask will pass outside the prison fence and send Pinkface a signal. 45 seconds after the signal, he will turn off the electric fence, giving her a few seconds to make her prison break. The thing is, Pinkface doesn't have a clock. She only has a lighter and 2 fuses. The fuses are flammable, and she knows they both burn for precisely 1 minute. They won't burn evenly, so if she cuts them in half, one side might burn for 40 seconds, while the other burns for 20 seconds. How can Pinkface use the fuses to time exactly 45 seconds and make her unique prison break? Here's the key insight. If Pinkface lights the same fuse on both ends simultaneously, it will burn out in precisely 30 seconds. To time the last 15 seconds, she will have to light the second fuse. She can light both ends of the first fuse at the same time to time 30 seconds and light the end of the second fuse. When the first fuse burns out, she'll know 30 seconds of the second fuse is also burnt. So, by lighting the other end of the second fuse, she'll be able to time 45 seconds and make her jailbreak. You just came back from a long holiday trip. You bought a new suitcase to store all the new things you got. But when arriving home, you forgot the code to open it. Luckily, you left yourself a note on your cell phone to help you decipher the code of the lock. 682. One digit is right and in its place. 614. One digit is right but in the wrong place. 206. Two digits are right but both are in the wrong place. 768. All digits are wrong. 380. One digit is right but in the wrong place. What's the 3-digit code? (042). Friday morning started busy in Somerville. The police station got a call saying that a woman had just robbed a bank and was seen entering Sunset Elementary School. The police chief hurried over to the school and found there were 2 teachers present that morning. He immediately knew which teacher was the thief. Can you tell who it was? Take a look at the second teacher's long-sleeve shirt. It has a little bit of cash peeking out of it. She's most certainly the thief. The Apex 18 space station called NASA's headquarters to report a crime. On a recent mission, astronauts recovered a valuable piece of evidence that could prove there was life on Mars. Andy, the mission chief, said he put the piece of rock inside a safe, located in the storage room. The next morning, he went to the storage room to put on his astronaut suit, and noticed that the safe was open. And oh no, the rock was missing. NASA conducted an online investigation to find out who the thief was. Paula said she wasn't feeling well the day before, so she spent the day in her room. James said he spent the previous day fixing a broken solar panel outside the spaceship and didn't see anything. Rebecca spent the previous 24 hours talking to NASA's Space Center to resolve a problem. Can you tell who is lying? It's James. If he went outside to check on solar panels, he first needed to go into the storage room to put on his spacesuit. Plus, there's a rock-shaped item in his left pocket. He must be the culprit. Tuesday morning, Amy got a call from her boss, Tom. He was in distress because a very important document had disappeared from his office. It had been on the desk the evening before, but nowhere to be found in the morning. Amy immediately went there to question the employees. She soon gathered 3 suspects. Elijah said he had spent the previous evening at the movies. Mason had taken his girlfriend to dinner, and Evelyn had visited an art gallery. It didn't take long for Amy to understand who was lying. Why? It was Elijah. Take a close look at his ticket. The date is for Sunday and not the night before. This means he's probably the one lying. Peter was lost in the woods when he encountered an evil magician. The magician cast a spell on him that transported Peter to an empty room inside a huge tower. To make things worse, the evil sorcerer put the tower on fire. The room Peter was in had no doors and only a small window. Thankfully, he found 3 magic potions that could maybe help him escape. If he drank the first potion, he would get incredible physical strength. If he chose the second potion, he could summon any animal he wanted to help him. And if he drank the last potion, he would turn into a vampire. Which potion should Peter choose? Well, no animal could help him escape the tower, and even if he had all the strength in the world, he wouldn't be able to beat the fire. But if he turned into a vampire, then he could transform into a bat and fly away through the little window. So the third bottle it is. Katie got lost in the desert. She walked for hours when suddenly she came across a huge oasis. But to reach the main waterfall, where she could drink some water, she had to cross a bridge. There were 3 bridges leading to the same place. The first bridge was far from the ground, and its rope looked like it could rip at any second. The second bridge had some hungry-looking alligators crawling on it. The last bridge stood above a lake full of poisonous water plants. Which bridge should she choose? The last one. The bridge stands above a poisonous lake, but she won't touch the water when crossing it. Rupert was working in his office when a huge power shortage turned off all the lights in the building. He heard footsteps approaching behind him, and the next thing he knew, he was feeling dizzy. Rupert passed out and woke up in a tiny room that had nothing other than a metallic door. He tried to open the door, but it was locked. He noticed that beside the door, there was a little device where a red sign appeared, asking for a password. Below the device, there was a piece of paper with the following hint: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Rupert read the note aloud several times before he finally figured out what the password was. Can you guess what password he typed into the device? He typed in 1 time the number 2, 3 times the number 4, 5 times the number 6, and 7 times the number 8. Phew, that wasn't obvious, huh? Bill and Jonah found themselves stuck inside the cavern of the Great Genie. There was nothing there but a wall with 3 buttons. There was a red button, a yellow one, and a green. Somewhere on the floor, they found a note that read, TDUPTRNOREHEBSSTE. They clicked one of the buttons and managed to open a hidden door on the wall. Which button did they choose? The red button. They unscrambled the words on the note and discovered it read, "Press the red button." Miss Taylor is the owner of a boutique that produces and sells expensive ceramics. On a Friday, when the working week was almost finished, she went to deposit the day's money inside the safe and was shocked to find out it was all gone. Someone had stolen it. Miss Taylor suspected it should have been one of her workers. She asked each one of them what they had been doing that day. Sloan, a sales manager, said she had been prospecting for new clients. Jake, the potter, said he always made 1 cup a day, and he showed all the cups he had done that week. Lily, the designer, said she had been working, but she also admitted she hadn't been really productive that day because of some family issues. Who lied? Jake. There are 5 working days in a regular week. The man said he made 1 mug a day, but he only showed 4 mugs. It means he missed 1 day of work. Probably the day he used to steal Miss Taylor's money.
Ashley was sunbathing on the beach and decided to swim in the sea. When she came back to her deck chair, she noticed that her stuff had been stolen. Ashley called security and they found 3 suspects. Each of the suspects pleaded innocent. Who's guilty? Remember the footprints on the sand? Ashley was barefoot, so 1 set of footprints is hers. Among the suspects, only 1 guy is wearing flip-flops. He must be guilty. We're given these things at least 2 times in our lifetime. The first 2 times are always for free, but if you want to get it for the 3rd time, you'll have to pay for that. What is it? These are teeth. Now, this one is to test your eyes and logic at the same time. Can you tell me the number of the parking spaces where the car is parked? It's the question of the point of view here, so instead of reading it from left to right, change the angle and you'll see the numbers 86, 88, 89, and 90. Therefore, the number of parking spaces is 87. Kelly stands on one side of a river and her cat somehow ended up on the other. Kelly calls her cat, but you know, these guys aren't into water and swimming in general. However, the cat immediately crossed the river without getting wet, and there were no boats or bridges. How? The river was frozen, so the cat just walked on the ice. Ed went to a bizarre museum. Rumor has it that some of the paintings are hiding real people and even monsters behind the frames. Look at this exposition and find what painting Ed should stay away from. That's the painting of Frankenstein. He's real, as he's the only one who sticks his hands out of the picture. The rest of the monsters are just paintings. In 1890, Jeremiah was 15 years old. Strangely, in 1895, he was 10 years old. How is that possible? Thing is, Jeremiah was born in 1905 BCE. The calendar worked the other way around back then. Luke had a very strict math teacher. One day, when he wasn't on his best behavior, the teacher got angry and said he would send him to a detention room. Luke asked the teacher not to do this, and the teacher said he wouldn't if Luke managed to prove an equation. The equation was 8 plus 8 equals 4. Can you help Luke out? I gotta admit, the teacher cheated a tad bit. It's not about math, but about logic. 8 a.m. plus 8 hours equals 4 p.m. Luke, you'd better behave. Paul asked Mary out multiple times, but she kept refusing his invitations. One day, she said she'd agree to go out with Paul, but it should be at a place that's 3/7 chicken, 2/3 cat, and 2/3 goat. Where does Mary want to go? Seems like Mary's never been to Chicago. Emily told her husband, Jay, that she wanted to invite her friends to dinner at their house. Jay asked how many friends she was going to invite. Emily said that they're all brunette, but 2. They're all redheaded, but 2. And they're all blonde, but 2. So, how many friends does Emily want to invite? She could have simply said she wanted to invite 3 friends, but she loves riddles. Alright, this one went viral on the internet some time ago. If you've missed it, let's crack it right now. I met a man on the London Bridge. He tipped his hat and drew his name. In this riddle, I told you his name. What's his name? His name is Andrew. You just needed to combine the 2 words from one of the lines of the riddle. The savannah was on fire. 3 lions and 3 zebras fled to save their lives. To escape the fire, they need to cross a river swarming with crocodiles. There was a raft nearby that can carry 2 animals on top at a time, and it needs to be at least 1 lion or 1 zebra on board. Also, the lions can't outnumber the zebras on either side of the river, even for a moment. How can all of them safely cross the river? First, a lion and a zebra should cross the river. The lion stays on the other bank, and the zebra goes back. For the second crossing, the 2 lions take the raft, but only one of them stays on the other side. 1 lion returns. Next, 2 zebras cross the river. To send the raft back, there should be a lion and a zebra on it. Now, there's a lion and a zebra on the safe bank, and 2 zebras and 2 lions on the bank that's on fire. For the next crossing, 2 zebras take the raft. Now, all the zebras are safe and the lion can bring his friends one by one. Mr. Collins is a math professor. He wanted to make it simpler for his students, so he suggested an idea. Whoever can solve the problem he gives does not have to take the exam at the end of the semester. The problem was, how can the number 5 be half of 4? Can you solve it? Well, to solve the problem, you need to use Roman numerals and not Arabic as we typically do. In Roman numerals, IV stands for 4 and V stands for 5. Seems like 5 is indeed half of 4, according to this logic. This one is a bit tricky, so be alert. First, think of the color of the cloud. Then, think of the color of the snow. And finally, think of the color of a bright full moon. Now answer quickly, what do cows drink? Yeah, it's not much of a riddle, but rather a psychological trick. It's water, not milk. You see, you were fixated on the white color from the start, and the association with cows made you think of milk. If you answered water instead, congrats! Your brain can't be tricked easily. 3 different doctors said Michael is their brother, but Michael says he has no brother. Who is lying? Actually, no one's lying. The 3 doctors are Michael's sisters. Amy and Parker were walking in the woods when they saw an old hut. They walked inside, but the door they entered suddenly disappeared. Instead, 3 new doors appeared. Behind the first one, there were venomous spiders. Behind the second door, arrows were flying across at head height. At the third door, hit a 30-foot drop. Which door leads to freedom? They should choose the second door. They don't need to walk, they can simply crawl under the arrows. Jennifer had to go to the hospital the other day. Walking along the corridor, she spotted 3 doctors. One of them seemed suspicious to her. Why? Look at the doctor on the left. He's got wolf eyes and teeth, and there's no badge on his uniform. I wouldn't let a werewolf examine me. Patrick met a stranger yesterday, and he immediately knew who he was. He hadn't seen this person before, and no one had ever described him to Patrick. This person wasn't a celebrity, and he wasn't doing anything unusual. How come he knew who he was? The man was the twin brother of Patrick's friend. Hi, my favorite detective. I've got a new portion of tricky riddles for you to train your sharp mind. Let's start.
Yeah.
One summer night, Emily threw a big party. But in the morning, she discovered that someone had stolen all her jewelry and money.
Oh no!
The police have 3 suspects: Daniel, Emily's boyfriend, Lily, her best friend, and Hannah, the girl's sister. Daniel told the police that he'd been playing computer games with his friend all night long. Lily felt sick and went home in the middle of the night. She said she knew nothing about the theft when the police called her. And Hannah said that she had stayed at the party till 7 a.m. and then had taken a taxi home because nobody could give her a lift. It was dark and she couldn't see anything. Who was lying? Hannah. At 7 a.m. in the summer, it's already light outside. One day, a famous soccer coach went missing right from the changing rooms. The police had 3 suspects, and all of them were from his team. Brandon said that after the training, he'd stayed on the pitch to practice a bit more. He hadn't been to the changing room yet. Andrew swore that after the training, he had gone outside to meet with his girlfriend. And James said, "When I was leaving the changing room, the coach was still there." Who's behind the disappearance of the coach? It's Brandon. He said he hadn't been to the changing room yet. But look, he's wearing not his uniform, but his street clothes. Once, a mad professor kidnapped Zoe and held her in his house. Was he planning to experiment on her? There was no way the young woman could escape. But one day, the scientist got bored.
You'll have to make breakfast for me tomorrow. If I like it, I'll let you go. If not, no one will hear about you again.
In the morning, Zoe went to the kitchen and started cooking. But when she turned away from the stove, the scientist threw a whole box of salt into the pot. However, when Zoe served him breakfast, he realized he had to set the girl free. Can you figure out what Zoe cooked? The girl boiled eggs. A man on a motorbike crashed into the window of Mr. Ruby's store, grabbed several expensive watches, and drove away. When the police arrived, Mr. Ruby told them that he was almost sure it had been his nephew, Patrick. The officers went to visit the guy. Because of a heavy downpour, it took them 1 hour to get there. Patrick was at home together with his friend. "Look at the weather. I haven't been outside since yesterday." Patrick's friend confirmed his words, but the police didn't believe their story and arrested Patrick. Why? The guy's helmet is hanging on his motorbike. If it had been there since the previous day, it would have been filled with rainwater by now. 4 friends went to a cafe together. 2 of them, Linda and Mike, ordered a large pot of blueberry tea. Kirsten took some lemonade, and Oscar opted for orange juice. Half an hour later, Linda and Mike lost consciousness and were rushed to a hospital. When the police analyzed the tea they had drunk, they found poison in it. The main suspects were, of course, Kirsten and Oscar. Why didn't they drink the tea? Kirsten said that she didn't like tea with berries, and Oscar explained that he was allergic to blackberries. Who is the culprit? It's Oscar. He said he was allergic to blackberries, but the tea his friends drank was with blueberries. David worked at a construction site. Once, someone attacked him, and the unconscious man was taken to a hospital. Police officers who arrived to investigate the case had 3 suspects who also worked at the construction site: Alex, Ryan, and John. Alex said, "I was putting all tiles on the roof when the accident happened." Ryan confessed that he'd been sleeping under the tree, and John claimed that he'd been laying bricks at that time. Can you figure out who's lying? Alex was the one to hurt David. The building has no roof yet, so he couldn't be putting tiles up there. You've bought a cute little rabbit at a pet store. The animal can breed every 2 months, and every time it will deliver 5 babies. How many rabbits will you have in a year? You'll have just 1 rabbit. If you want to have little bunnies, you have to buy 2 rabbits. Look at these people attentively. Who is a mer person? Pay attention to every little detail. It's the guy on the right. Look, his hands are webbed. Allison won the main prize of $1 million on a game show. But when the shooting was over, it turned out that the host of the show had disappeared, together with the prize. The police managed to log into the computer in his office. They saw that the host had sent this message to his girlfriend. It looked like the host had told his girlfriend where he was going. The police went to the airport, but which flight was the host going to catch? Can you figure it out? Now let's see, the first 2 letters of Atlas are AT. If we take 3 letters from the word land, it'll leave us with LAN. And the 2 first letters of tattoo are TA. Together, these letters make up the word Atlanta. Hurry to the gate, officers! Jack got lost in the woods. Suddenly, he saw a castle. The man rushed there and was greeted by the owner of the castle.
"You have to answer just 1 question. If you win, I'll show you the way out of the forest. But if you lose, you'll never leave my castle."
Jack agreed. The owner asked,
"There are 4 mirrors on the wall. One of them reflects fire-spitting dragon Niren. The second, beautiful mermaid Laura. In the 3rd mirror, you can see a terrifying vampire Sam. And in the 4th, unicorn David. You have to figure out which reflection isn't real, and fast."
The reflection of Vampire Sam isn't real. Vampires can't be reflected in mirrors. A businessman arrived at his office after a long trip and discovered that some important documents had disappeared from his desk. He immediately called the police, and a detective arrived shortly after. After interviewing all the workers, he had a list with 3 suspects on it. They were Emma, the accountant, Sophia, the receptionist, and James, a sales manager. But each of these people claimed that they hadn't even been inside the businessman's office. Still, it didn't take long until the detective figured out who was lying. Can you do the same? The thief is James. Both women wear high heels in the office, but the footprints on the floor are obviously left by sneakers. You throw me when you need me and pick me up when you don't need me. Can you figure out what I am? Right you are. I'm an anchor. How can you increase 66 by 1.5 if you aren't allowed to make any mathematical operations? Hurry up and crack this riddle. Just turn 66 upside down. It was Mr. and Mrs. Smith's wedding anniversary, and Mrs. Smith was going to put on diamond earrings her husband had presented her for their wedding. But when she opened her jewelry box, she saw that the earrings weren't there. She called her daughters, Dora and Laura. "I've told you so many times not to touch my things. Who took my jewelry this time?" Dora exclaimed, "I haven't touched your jewelry box." Laura also denied taking her mom's stuff. "I don't even wear earrings." Can you figure out which girl is lying? It was Laura who stole the earrings. Her mom didn't specify which piece of jewelry was missing.
Okay, listen up. Lenora and Luna are twin sisters and vampires. They love Twitter and pranks. Luna lies on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, and Lenora lies on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. On the remaining days, they only tell the truth. Today, to celebrate their 1147th birthday, Luna posts on Twitter, "I lied yesterday," and Lenora comments on her post, "Me too." What day was it? It was Thursday. Luna could say that she lied the day before on Monday or on Thursday, and Lenora on Thursday and Sunday. So for both, it could only be Thursday. Luna and Lenora love messing with humans. They go to a party to find someone delicious. All these guys are vampires, except one. Can you spot the human? Take a closer look at the guy in the middle. He's the only one who has the eyes of a normal human being. Get out. The guy's name is Billy. The sisters lure him into their house. They're in a good mood and decide to give him a choice. Billy can choose which of them would bite him first. Billy answers, and the sisters let him go. What did he say? He said, "Let the more beautiful sister bite me first." Smarty pants. Luna and Lenora have recently visited 2 vampire weddings. Here are 2 pictures. Can you guess which couple is more silly? The first wedding ceremony takes place in a castle, but it's daytime and the sun rays sneak into the room. Meanwhile, the second couple is having a wedding on the beach. They're under a tent, and the sun will soon set. So, the first couple is more silly. Luna and Lenora finally buy a piece of land and start building their dream castle. Luna has the necessary education and controls everything. One evening, she comes over to see how the construction is going. Oh no, someone has broken an expensive stained glass window. Luna calls 3 workers and questions them. Bob says, "I received the window delivery in the morning and put it in the barn. Then I worked on the floors. I didn't approach it again." Gerald says, "I was hanging TVs that I bought from the store." And Xavier says, "I measured the house in order to make a staircase to the second floor." Who is lying? Gerald. According to his reply, he hung up the TVs, but the castle isn't even completed. Looks like he broke the window and decided to confuse Luna. Well, lucky Gerald. He gets fired instead of bit, and the remaining workers continue construction. Finally, they finish 2 rooms in the castle. Can you spot 5 differences between them? Here they are. There's a trap hidden in this room. Can you find it? It's hidden under this basket. Luna and Lenora are visiting an art workshop. Can you spot who's not from this planet, model or artist? It's the artist. Take a look at his work. He doesn't know how many hands human beings should have. Then they visit a pottery workshop and take these 2 pictures. Can you spot 3 differences between them? Here they are. Lenora dates a human, Dr. David. She goes to the hospital to visit him. Can you spot which one of these 3 doctors is David? The first guy is wearing a badge. His name is Tom. And the second guy is hiding a police badge, so he probably works undercover. Therefore, David is the third guy. David goes to the basement to get some spooky drinks for Lenora, but someone pushes him from behind and he faints. David wakes up in a weird room with 3 pills in his hand. He has to pass through 3 doors guarded by monsters. Which pill should he use to pass through each door? David should use the invisibility pill for the first door. If he flies, the vampire will turn into a bat and catch him. And the regeneration pill will heal the bite, but David will still become a vampire. As for the second door, he should use the ability to fly. If he becomes invisible, the werewolf will still smell him. Regeneration isn't helpful either, because he may still turn into a werewolf. He should use it for the third door, to make the body invulnerable before meeting a maniac. Meanwhile, Luna is visiting a vampire party. She spots an imposter among the guests right away. Can you find this person too? Only the fourth lady has a shadow, so she's not a vampire. At the party, Luna meets her old friend Glenda. Can you spot her husband? It's the third guy. They're wearing similar pearl earrings. The next evening, Luna is visiting their unfinished castle. She finds out that someone has stolen their expensive antique painting. Only 3 workers had access to this room. Luna questions all of them. Kyle says, "I was feeling sick yesterday, so I went home earlier. The painting was in its place." Bob said, "I was the last to leave yesterday and I locked all the doors in the building. I think this painting is cursed because Kyle got sick after staring at it." And Xavier says, "I just arrived from the architect with new building blueprints. I don't know who did it." Who stole the painting? Xavier. He cut the painting out of the frame, rolled it, and hid it among the blueprints. Lenora and David are shopping together. They choose some clothes and go to try them on. Can you spot what's wrong here? The mirror doesn't reflect properly. What about this picture? Anything odd? David is a human, but Lenora is a vampire. She shouldn't have any reflection. There's a loud quarrel taking place in a jewelry shop. The salesman calls the police and yells, "This customer stole my best emerald tiara." But the customer says, "No, I bought this cheap toy in a $1 shop 2 years ago." Who's lying? The customer. She's hiding another tiara in her hair. Lenora enters a cosmetic store. 3 stylists greet her and offer her free makeup. One of them is a criminal. Can you guess who? The first lady. She has a pick lock in her makeup brush set. Meanwhile, Luna finds out that the land around their castle is haunted. Can you count the exact number of ghosts in this area? The correct number is 7. Luna goes to sleep and wakes up in a weird place. A creepy note says that Luna can pass through one of these 3 doors. There's a family of hungry lions waiting behind the first door. There's a desert full of snakes and scorpions behind the second door. And there's a creepy ancient vampire hiding behind the third door. Which door is more or less safe? Luna should use the third door. She's a vampire too, remember? Lenora and Luna finally move into their new castle. They hire a housemaid to clean the house, and she gets to work right away. Can you spot anything weird? Why would a cat need an electric charger? Luna wants to find a boyfriend, so she starts looking through dating apps. She finds Rick. Can you spot anything odd about him? His kettlebell has 0 weight. Okay, forget him. Luna gives up dating apps and goes on a speed date event for vampires only. There, she meets 3 nice guys. Each tells her a couple of facts about themselves. Olaf says, "I've just turned 5,000 years old and realized that I'm ready for a serious commitment." Vlad says, "I'm from a very ancient and rich vampire family. We have property all over the globe." And Lester says, "For many centuries I lived in Europe and promoted musicians and writers. Now I want to find a girlfriend and start a new chapter of my eternal life." Only one of them is trustworthy. Can you guess who? Olaf reflects in the mirror, therefore he's not a real vampire and his story is a lie. And Vlad is stealing the gold cutlery from the table. He's not a golden boy, but a gold digger. So Luna should choose Lester. And this is how love bites. Hey, I've got a couple of riddles for you today, but those are hard, so start your brain engine and let's go. There was once a magical forest inhabited by elves and gnomes. Since they didn't get along very well, they lived in 2 different parts of the forest to avoid all conflict. One day, centaurs invaded the forest and elves and gnomes were forced out, running in different directions. Let's follow a small group of 6 creatures, 3 elves and 3 gnomes. They ran west, but unfortunately, they stumbled across a lake. None of them could swim, but luckily, there was a raft. The raft could only carry 2 creatures at once, 2 elves, 2 gnomes, or 1 elf and 1 gnome. So you need to figure out a way for all of them to cross the lake safely. Now, here's the problem. If there are more gnomes on one side than elves, they will attack them. Even if an elf is on the raft, but not in the part of the lake where there are more gnomes than elves, it's still not safe. Can you figure out a way for them all to cross the lake safely? Okay, so here are 5 possible first steps. 1 elf crosses the lake, or 1 gnome, or 2 elves, 2 gnomes, or 1 elf and 1 gnome. But it doesn't make any sense to cross the lake alone since they need to send the raft back somehow. So those 2 options are out. 2 elves can't cross the lake together because then the 3rd elf will be left alone with 3 gnomes and they will attack him. So it's either 2 gnomes crossing the lake first or an elf and a gnome. So let's go with the 2 gnomes. So 2 of them cross the lake and of course 1 of them has to come back. Now what? 2 elves can't leave together because the 3rd one is in danger. If an elf and a gnome leave together, then the one who is leaving will be in danger as soon as they cross the river. So 2 more gnomes leave together, and then 1 comes back. An elf and a gnome can't leave together because then there will be 3 gnomes and 1 elf on the other side. So this time, 2 elves cross the lake together. Who comes back? Not an elf, because the other one can't be left alone there. A gnome can't go back alone. Otherwise, there will be 2 gnomes and 1 elf on the first shore. So, a plot twist. An elf and a gnome come back together. Now, 2 gnomes can't cross the lake. An elf and a gnome can't go either. So the 2 remaining elves go to the other shore together. None of them can now return since there are 2 gnomes left on that shore. So a gnome will return to pick up one of his buddies. Then another gnome will go to pick up the last gnome. But it's not the only solution. You could also succeed by sending a gnome and an elf together as a first move. Here's a graph of how it would play out. But remember, no matter how far you travel, there's no place like Gnome. Okay, great job. Now it's time for the second riddle, and this one comes from Esme. This girl often goes for a walk in a forest and typically gets lost. This time, though, she doesn't get lost. Here's her way home, but she's tempted to go visit her old friend, a witch, who lives in that forest. Esme has an amazing riddle, and it's pretty hard, so she thinks she has a good chance of winning the witch's cat. So, Esme goes to the witch's house and offers the following. I bet you can't solve my riddle. If I'm right, your cat will go home with me. The witch believes she can solve any riddle, so she takes that risk. Esme puts a big acute triangle on the table. Here, you can make 7 cuts to make this triangle disappear. Every piece you cut off that is an acute triangle will disappear. But if a triangle has an angle that is right or obtuse, that piece will stay. Once again, 7 cuts, and you have to make the whole triangle disappear. Not a single smallest piece can be left. So, how can the witch do that and keep her cat? Whenever you make a cut, it'll either produce 2 right angles or an acute and obtuse angle. The witch seems to be doomed, but then she looks at the pizza she hasn't finished. When you cut into more than 4 pieces, all angles are acute. The problem is that a pizza is round, and we're dealing with a triangle. Still, the trick also works with other shapes, like hexagons and pentagons. Good for the witch, she can make a pentagon out of this acute triangle by making just 2 cuts. The small cut-off triangles are acute, and they disappear. Now, the witch needs to deal with the pentagon like she does with a pizza. Cut it into 5 pieces using the last 5 cuts. That's a success story. Hey, we know you like the cat, Esme, but maybe get one of your own. Okay, do you think you can crack another one? I promise it's the last one for today, and it's quite fun. No more geometry. Here's how the story goes. 1,000 years ago, 6 siblings founded a magical school. Ingram, Regalia, and Corona are witches, and Agnard, Ardumo, and Modnar are wizards. A pair of siblings found a house each, and the names of those houses are Rymeth, Madlo, and Damora. All 6 of them also founded the 4th house, named after their 7th sibling who went missing when they were young. You are invited to study in the magical school, but as you arrive, you have to be sorted into your house. You have to put your hand on the sorting book and wait for its decision to light up on the cover. When you do it, the book sees potential in you. So instead of sorting you into one of the 3 houses right away, it gives you an opportunity to get into the 4th house, where the most gifted young magicians go. To prove that you're good enough to be sorted into that house, you have to solve the sorting riddle. The task is to guess the name of the special house, which no one but its students knows. But you have some guidelines that can serve as hints. First, you have to find out who founded which house. Here are some statements. Every house was founded by a brother and a sister. Corona and Regula found Rymeth and Madlo, but not necessarily in this order. Ingram and Ardumo founded Madlo and Damora, but not necessarily in this order. Agnard and Regala founded the same house. Now, after you figure it out, the next step is to guess the name of the secret house. To find it out, find what all siblings have in common. So, are you gifted enough to get sorted into that special house? First, you have to find out who founded which house. So, the pair is always a brother and sister. Let's look at conditions 2 and 3. Each of them mention Madlo. Both Corona and Regala are sisters, which means that no matter who founded Madlo, it already has a sister founder. Therefore, Ingram, who is also a witch, couldn't have founded this house, which means that Madlo was founded by Ardumo, so Ingram founded Damora. Agnard founded the same house with Regala, so it was Modnor who founded Damora with Ingram. Therefore, it only leaves us with Rymeth for Agnar and Regala. Finally, Corona founded Madlo. Okay, great. Now we have to figure out the name of the 5th house. What do the siblings have in common? Of course, all of them have the letter R in their names. Let's put them in the order of appearance of the letter in their names, starting with Regala. Under each of their names, let's put the name of the house they founded. Now, the respective letters under each R form the name Radota. That's the name of their missing sister, and that's what the fourth house is called. So, pal, if you figured it out, congratulations, and welcome home.